Hey guys, welcome to Brains, Brawn, and BS, where we try to improve the lives of our listeners by connecting the dots between physical and financial wellness while discussing the shit that actually matters in life.
That's it. We're rolling, so hit it, Luke.
Good to go? Awesome. So, as always, my name is Luke. I'm going to be the fitness consultant for today's episode and probably every other episode to ever air.
Well, the reason you're doing these ones, or like you've been doing the past few, is because you came up with the idea for the first five, the series, rather.
Yeah, definitely. And can you just kind of introduce yourself, Scott? I mean, I know you're kind of new to the show, so I think you should really drill down on your title, your duties, and kind of what you're here to teach.
Yeah, so my name is Scott, and I'm an alcoholic.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, I know, right? It's a disease, man. No, my name is Scott Johnson. I know we did a brief intro in the very first episode, but I have been studying under the teachings of a lot of great people like Robert Kiyosaki, Donald Trump, not directly, but through their books and different things like that. And I've actually put a lot of action into it and learned a lot about business and finance, especially the foundational shit that is important, especially when you are making the transition from being an employee where you're dependent on that paycheck to being a business owner.
Yeah, no, I think that was probably the most solid kind of overview you could have given. And obviously, I'm just kidding. We've been, on this show the same amount of time, right?
Exactly.
So today, what I'm going to be covering, guys, is one of the last components of fitness that we actually have to do, and that's going to be flexibility. So that's often overlooked. I'd say it's probably the most overlooked component of physical fitness, right? Because you can have other components of fitness and lack flexibility, right? It's not something that's super obvious until maybe you try to touch your toes or you get a little bit older, or you're trying to bend down at the waist, Actually, you brought up a great point before the show, Scott, about how in America, we mostly sit in chairs, right?
Yep.
And there's a higher fall risk for older people, right? But in Asian companies, Lord, I guess companies too, in Asian countries, right, it's more commonplace to sit on the floor, kind of like crisscross.
Crisscross. Well, they'll sit on their knees too, just at a dinner table, like in Japan.
Yeah, and I think that was perfect timing to bring that up because as we kind of went over, that really illustrates how important flexibility and having a full range of motion through the joints is, right? Because if you don't pay attention to flexibility when you're younger, that is something that gradually declines over time. You will not get it back. It will not regenerate. It's never going to get any better, right? Yep. Without you taking some action on that. So,
and that's why the fall risk is so high around here with the elderly, because they lose that range of motion. So when they, get to a position where maybe they're bending down a little too far, since they've lost it, then they could easily fall down. It's hard for them to get back.
Yeah, they're not used to that squatting position, right? So just making sure that you're staying on flexibility, you have a good range of motion. That is actually crucial. And like I said, when you're younger, it's easier to overlook that. But as time goes on, I mean, that is actually a serious issue. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
So, and there's a bunch of, as always, a ton of great online resources to kind of cover this. I'm reading an article from the yogajournal.com right now about flexibility. So
I love yoga.
Yeah, I thought yoga's great. I thought this was a great resource. And I definitely recommend you guys check it out. If you have any further questions, comments, concerns, definitely, drop a comment on our Instagram, Facebook, or email us at brainsbrawnandbs@gmail.com.
Definitely. So, where does that come in your workout routine?
Sure. So, in my opinion, the best way to kind of increase your flexibility naturally would take place, first of all, the timing and order is really important. So you're, again, like we talked about in our other episode, you do dynamic stretching, or like a warm-up, so to speak, pre-workout, so before your workout. Mm-hmm. And then when you take care of your flexibility, that's going to be on the post-workout side, right? So that's going to be static stretching. That's the stretching actually that most people are familiar with, right? and just making sure that when you do those stretches, you're really getting it in there. You're not hurting yourself, but you are working your joints through the full range of motion. I was never big on, I should have done more stretching as a personal trainer, but just off the top of my head, there's a tricep stretch. You can do the behind the back thing where you connect your palms on both sides, right?
Right.
Test shoulder flexibility.
Those are static stretches, though.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
So what is the difference, in case someone doesn't know, what's the difference between a static stretch and a dynamic stretch?
Sure. Well, first thing I'll do is something to go back to our episode on, God, where did we cover that? Was it like 3 episodes ago?
I think they should just listen to all of them and fucking figure it out.
Yeah, no, that'd be the best. So, dynamic stretching is more of like an active, it's not even, don't think of it as traditional stretching. It's a warm-up, it's a brisk walk on an incline, it's maybe a slow jog, it is some couple lunges, or like say you're working with weights and you're doing squats. If you're doing weighted squats, to do a safe warm-up beforehand to prevent injury, you would do just body weight squats first, right? Work through that full range of motion, test that flexibility, make sure everything's good, there's no kinks, get the blood flowing to the muscles and body groups where you're going to be using them.
So that's kind of like when you had me, when I was doing bench press, I started with the bar only.
Correct. Yeah, that's a perfect example. That's exactly what that is. So it doesn't matter if you can bench 400 pounds, right? You don't go in there benching 400 pounds for your first set of the day.
Oh, bullshit. Right? I could do that.
Well,
Not really.
Scott superhumans aside, it'd definitely be foolhardy, right? Because even with that strength, as I kind of explained to you, you know how important it is to warm up those muscles,
yep.
the joints, the ligaments, and put them through that test, make sure there's no issues. Then you start working on the weight, right? Then you load on the weight, and that's a safety thing.
So is there a certain amount of time maybe to do the static or dynamic stretches before and after?
Yeah, so with the dynamic stretches, it does no one can answer that because depending on the exercise that you're about to partake in,
gotcha.
There's too much variability and genetic factors involved. But really, probably whatever you think is fine if you're doing the dynamic stretch properly, right? So like say I'm about to run, I might start with a brisk walk for a few minutes, or maybe like a slow jog. That's
gotcha.
Good, right? You don't overthink it. But for like, let's see, I lost my train of thought there. For like weights, like you said,
yep.
If it's a weighted exercise, you can simulate it with just the body. Do that. Do it for 10 reps or so. I'd say minimum 10 reps. And you're going to want to make the speed, I would say, slower than your normal working set speed.
Okay.
Just to make sure we're good to go. Really slow it down a little bit.
So like in Insanity, when I was going insane and doing that.
Yes.
They do a warm-up, and the first thing is just very, very low, low impact type stuff,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and that's what we want to hit on. We want it to be low impact, we want it to be safe, we want it to be workable, we want it to be breathable. You run through the dynamic warm-up, you make sure everything's good to go, then you hit the exercise, and then more importantly, when you finish, coming back to flexibility, you do your static stretching, right? And honestly, like I said, guys, that's not my area of expertise when it comes to fitness in that space. But I haven't seen any kind of incorrect or foolhardy articles online trying to mislead you on that. It's pretty good resources out there.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and I think if you just hit it with a quick Google search, kind of flush out the information, you'd be good to go. But like I said,
awesome.
email us if you have any issues or questions.
Yeah, brainsbrawnandbs@gmail.com. Any of your questions on that. And I kind of want to relate that to a business topic. So what I want to kind of cover with that is stretching. There's obviously two different types of stretching. You have the dynamic and the static. Well, in general, and to improve your flexibility, you're going to want to increase kind of like how you think about the markets and how you think about money. A lot of people decide, hey, I'm going to go ahead and throw all my money into a 401k, mutual fund, savings account, whatever. For a lot of people, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Not my jam, but for a lot of people it is. Now, but you need to stay flexible. You need to understand, where to put your money if the stock market's going down. and you're inflexible in staying in there, then another market like the gold market is like gold prices are going up, or maybe you have a chance to invest in a business or in real estate and those are going up, but you're stuck in the stock market. Well, you're inflexible. You're going to lose a shitload of money. And so it's important that you educate yourself on different types of assets.
Yeah.
Right.
At least at a basic level, right? You're not going to be an expert.
100%. You do not need to go all in, buy like hundreds of dollars of books and go balls deep in it. It's just important that you have a basic idea. Like, okay, when the stock market goes down, in certain circumstances, gold and bonds will go up. The reason is because they're called safe haven assets. Right? Gold is money. This is a good point for the podcast. Gold is fucking money. If you think, hey, I'm going to buy gold because it's a great investment, it's money. That's all it is. The reason the price of gold goes up is because the value of our dollar goes down. If you want to understand that, go back to our first episode on inflation. Your life is inflated. I do remember that one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We're making a bunch of callbacks this episode.
Oh, 100%. Got to point you back to listen to the stuff that's going to help you grow, man.
Repetition is good.
100%. So obviously there's those two types of stretching. You have static stretching. So static stretching, I'm going to say, is like reading a book or maybe taking a course where you sit down and listen to a guy for hours. I have never been a huge book person until the past 2 years, and I cannot learn sitting down and listening to someone fucking talk. I just can't do it. It drives me nuts. I fell asleep in my, nutrition class?
Oh, yeah?
I'm sure that was one of your favorite classes, right?
I mean, I definitely, I'm concerned with the material, we'll put it that way.
Well, let me put it this way. My teacher had, like, the most monotone voice that I've ever heard in my life.
That's rough, though. You could be teaching anything. That's rough.
Drove me nuts. I literally laid down in the bleachers, like, because it was actually stadium seating. So I laid down, went to sleep, woke up at the end of the class, and she called me down and drilled me. It was awesome. Anyway, to the point though. So that is more like static stretching. That's of course what you're going to be doing afterward, or doing
after the workout.
Well, yeah, after the workout, right? So it's going to be something that you are just sitting there, kind of doing. You don't move a lot. You just do it. My favorite way to stretch and to gain flexibility in the markets is, of course, taking action and working to learn, or working with a mentor. Taking action, this is, of course, is saying, okay, I want to learn about stocks. Well, Luke, what's the best way to learn about stocks?
Sure. So, Scott, I'd say, as always, for beginners and for starters, there's a ton of great resources online, which is kind of my go-to. So
Definitely.
If you're not looking to, you're just getting into it, you're not looking to spend, money on books or even maybe someone to teach you, like a mentor, right off the bat, just to get your feet kind of wet, familiarize yourself. I mean, there is a plethora of wonderful materials online. It is truly a great time to be alive because you can take advantage of this stuff for free when you used to have to pay people or have to know someone to teach you about these things. You can do it all online.
Exactly. And now you guys are when you're doing your research online, you're going to find a bunch of gurus and they're like, I have the magic touch or the Midas touch. My system is the best system. Fuck them. Fuck them. All right. Once you start on a system, let's say the system works for a while. That's great. Markets change because people do not stay the same. We as individuals change continuously. So once we change, the markets change, and these strategies that once were amazing and awesome and worked all the time won't fucking work.
That's true, but on that same point, I would say that a good, effective system has parameters in place to adapt to changing market conditions. For example, if we're talking about the stock market, let's say the stock market's going down. Like, it's all going down, not specific sectors or industries or indices, but the whole thing's just tanking. It would behoove you to have stop loss orders already set in place years
100%.
ago, right?
Yep.
To ensure a sell point, like this is my exit point, this is my enter point, boom. And you want to make sure that's set up so to avoid that risk. I think when I think about what you're saying in regards to like gurus on self-proclaimed, I'm not going to call them gurus, self-proclaimed gurus online. That's more of a marketing thing, just to sell their own brand. Businesses do that all the time. Like, I have this awesome foolproof system. They're just trying to sell you a course. I'm sure some of those courses are great. I'm sure some of them are shit. But I think that it should be judged on an individual basis.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing, is another way is to make money in the markets. Let's say the market's going down and, you can short. Learn to short the market. Learn to use ETFs that are inverse ETFs.
Yeah, inverse ETFs.
Right? I love inverse ETFs, man. I'm learning a lot about those, and I've actually got some money in one, even though the market's going up. But the best way, just a little bit. So one thing, if you take anything away from the business side of this podcast, okay, the one thing to take away is if you want to learn about something, put a little bit of money in. When I wanted to learn about Bitcoin, when it was at 13,000, before it got to 19,000, I put just a little money in and watched it.
And before it dropped to 5,000.
Yeah, but right, exactly. Yeah, and well, I still have that Bitcoin that I had purchased. I lost whatever. I didn't put much. I put like $100 in or something.
Well, I think that's a great point, though, what you're saying, because taking action, you now have skin in the game if you have money in the market, right? So that now, what does that make me do? I'm concerned. I want to learn. I'm keeping track of this. I didn't just throw it away and forget about it, because I have money that I earned invested in this asset.
100%. Now, don't put all of your money into that shit. Like when you're first starting out. If you're learning, one thing that's great about the stock market, which I know we've been pretty heavy in the stock market this time, but guys, listen, there's other assets, and just keep listening to Brains, Brawn, and BS, because we'll go over those, as we're going along. When it comes, darn it, now I lost my train of thought.
Well, you're talking about different assets most recently other than the stock market. Oh, the most effective thing you can do, the takeaway from this episode from the business side, is to get some skin in the game, put a little money in, and keep track of it.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. So just putting a little bit of money in is exactly what you need. Just a little. You could buy one stock for $15. I don't care. But once you put that money in, your interest is going to go up. You're going to be like, holy crap, I want to learn more about this.
Because now that belongs to you. You have ownership in it.
I remember what I was going to say. So paper trading is great when it comes to the stock market.
Yes.
Think or swim, or just making a spreadsheet and marking your trades.
Yeah, there is a ton.
Oh, God.
Literally, almost every major broker that I have seen, whether it's Forex, futures, options, or just traditional stock trading, they will typically have a paper trading platform or app that you can use in your web browser. I've definitely used that to practice before. And that is an awesome tool, like you said, because then you have real market conditions, real stock prices, real everything. Everything's real but the money invested. So you can see now, psychologically, that's for another episode, but that totally twists your actions and responses to actually how you are trading.
Yep.
But in theory, it is good practice, and at the very least, you can get familiar with the platform, learn what certain order types are, and that's huge.
And it's golden because you're taking action and you're learning.
Yeah. I think the main thing is you have to take action.
Or get a mentor. So just one thing I wanted to cover, last thing on my side, is getting a mentor. So there are certain programs where you pay to have a mentor. Those are good programs, don't get me wrong. The Rich Dad mentor that I had a while back was absolutely fantastic. Obviously, we may get started in things and backtrack and stop for a while, but never let that discourage you. I kind of went off on this one, but this is a super important point. I fuck up constantly, all right? So one thing that I live by, and I wanted to bring this up in this episode, is found The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason.
Quote time.
Quote time. This, I literally have it in front of me. I was reading it this morning. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. It should be not less than 1/10, no matter how little you earn. Pay yourself first. I have been doing a shitty job of doing that the past 2 months, but I've reassessed myself, taken stock of, taken inventory of my assets, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I need to get back on and keep going. So, and I'm probably going to screw up again. But it's important that if you fuck up, if you think, oh my God, I had this shot and I screwed it up, do it again. Get a mentor who's going to show you the way, hold your hand through it. These gurus we talked about, or self-proclaimed gurus, they're not mentors. They're giving you a system that you can use. A real mentor will take the time to sit down and talk with you. Hell, the people on your team, like attorneys, CPAs, insurance agents, a good team member is going to take the time to teach you.
Yeah, at least to educate you to some extent. And I would say, when it comes to the mentor thing, I think if you want to get really good at a skill, especially if it's something kind of complicated, I don't want to say you need it, but it is very hard to master or even be proficient at a convoluted business tactic, strategy, market, or investment without putting in significant time and effort on your own part, and then making sure you're getting the right information from someone. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say go out and immediately seek a mentor day one, like put down $1,000 on anything.
Sure.
I would say, figure out what you want to do, find the right person, evaluate them individually, make an assessment, make a decision. I'd say.
And it could take time.
Yeah, no, it will. It should take time.
It should.
Yeah, you shouldn't go to the first guy. Just, he's on the internet.
Right,
You
exactly.
don't about the internet, dude.
What's that?
On the internet, it's true.
Of course, because everything I read on the internet is true.
Facts. Abraham Lincoln said that.
100%.
On the internet.
Yeah, actually, I heard, I don't know where I read this, but I read, and this could be complete bullshit, that's why we had the BS at the end of our name.
Correct.
But I heard...
It's a catch-all.
Right, catch-all. Before he was president, he actually made the first social network, and you guys cannot see me, but I am making the quotations.
Yeah, he's miming quotation marks.
Essentially, he would, people started taking and writing down biographies of themselves or just things about themselves and leaving it in this institution and people are a record area, and people could literally go in there and look up other people's pages, right?
That's awesome.
I did the quotes again. But
is that do we know how true that is?
I don't know how I gotta remember where I read it.
Someone look that up and shoot us an email.
Okay, yeah. Someone figured that out for me because I'm too damn lazy figuring out all this business
stuff. Get
stuff.
on that and give us a shout back.
Yeah,
Thanks.
exactly. But you can also catch us on Instagram at Brains Brawn and BS. There is one more extremely important thing that I want to cover in this episode, but you got to wait till the next one. So get excited,
man.
Guys. Yeah, this is
It's
good. It's like literally, I'm like drooling thinking about it.
It's Josh over here frothing at the mouth.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very big turn on, but
it's quite attractive. Actually, I'll let individuals decide, but I'm sure.
Cool.
Sure, most people are on board.
Oh, 100%. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us for Brains, Brawn, and BS. Had a blast talking with you guys. Luke, anything you want to say on the way out?
No, that's it, man. You hit it. Take care, guys. Stay tuned. Stay
All right. Yep. Talk to you soon, guys. Have a good one. We are now allowing you to listen to random shit that we talked about before the show. Get excited. Okay, so now we're actually going to be able to hear ourselves talk.
I'm glad to hear that, Scott, because I do one of my favorite things on the planet is to hear myself talk, and also my own name.
Yeah,
so that's kind of my thing.
100%. It's like the I. What is that from? How to Win Friends and Influence People. The one thing people want to hear the most.
Yes,
is their name.
That actually works really well, dude. Like, say people's names, like customer service people, anyone, customers, clients, prospects, solid.
Dude, like one thing I use here at Bellamy is I keep saying their name over and over again while I'm showing them the model. Mm-hmm. The only issue is there's 800 people here, so I still cannot remember everyone's name.
No, that's tough.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you really have to create an in-depth mental framework where it's like big nose. From Long Island, loud, right? Over in this area.
I guess in the same book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, this Dale Carnegie was talking about this guy. He was a politician who just had this system for remembering
Yeah,
names.
that's what I'm referencing.
Oh, is that what you're talking
Yeah, I
about?
literally just read that chapter.
Oh, literally?
I mean, it was like 2 weeks ago, but that's what I was talking about. That's so funny.
Right, yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess now we'll stop BSing and go ahead and do the show. And, I think we should put this on at the very end of the show, just as a bullshit insert into it.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah,
I probably want to play it back one more time.
Those are
just
pretty-
to hear it, but I don't think we said anything that would be an issue.
No, yeah, I mean, I feel like we brought up some pretty solid
Like
points.
pre-show show notes.
Pre-show show notes, well, pre-post-show show notes, because it's at the post? I don't know.
Pre-post show.
Show,
Wouldn't that just be pre-show show notes? Wait, pre-show show notes.
pre-show show notes. Yeah,
It's
something.
funny.
Yeah,
I had a good time doing that.
exactly. So, all right.